Hello and good afternoon, or I should say good evening here in England. At the moment in the Christian world, what is trending is a 3-year-old, if you could imagine that for a second, a 3-year-old who, it is alleged, told his mother that he had a dream of Jesus, and that Jesus told this 3-year-old that he was going to return very soon. This 3-year-old went on to say that in this dream he saw his brothers and sisters up in heaven wearing Jesus' clothes. Of course, in these critical times of challenging and persecution of the Christian faith, or even indeed science, which can create doubt, and of course Christians can start to question whether what we believe in is actually true. We embrace these kind of stories because somehow it gives us that crutch, that driving force to enable us to continue to believe in what we do. The whole Christian world is going crazy with this story, and the reason being, a 3-year-old, you begin to think to yourself, well, a 3-year-old wouldn't lie, and therefore it must be true. He must have had this dream. Of course, there's quite a few errors that, in my humble opinion, that I have problems with. Number one, we do know that a lot of stories like this, especially when dealing with afterlife, sometimes the kids are coached by their parents, a lot of it for publicity, etc. And there's also other avenues where what we think about, we are going to dream. So if you think about, let's say you have an exam, and it's whether it's maths or whether it's history, if you're focusing on that subject, of course, especially with stress on the brain, depending how you deal with that kind of subject, you're going to dream it. It's only natural. This 3-year-old, I'm not sure whether he was brought up in a Christian environment. However, I do know that when I myself was 5 years old and 6 years old, I also dreamt of the rapture, and that was many, many years ago. So what we are raised in, the environment, is going to influence our dreams. That is natural. However, not one to water down, this event. However, where I have problems with this dream is that many Christians, now this is only my humble opinion, many Christians, what they took from this was that his brothers and sisters was in heaven. Okay, it's parallel to people who claim that they can contact their relatives because they're in the spiritual realm, they're in the heavenly places. If you're up there, then of course you can contact them if they're alive, if they're conscious. So he was saying that his brothers and sisters were in heaven, were both in heaven. Now, my contention with that is this. A lot of people are calling it rapture. I don't see any evidence of rapture being caught up in the air. I thought this was actually, the terminology rapture was that all Christians were supposed to be caught up in the air with the Lord. It wasn't an isolated event. Secondly, if when we all die, we immediately go to heaven, immediately, then where is the judgment day? Where is the resurrection? Why would the psalm said the soul that sleeps in the earth, not is conscious, but asleep? and if we all go to heaven straight away, those who believe in Jesus, what about those who don't? Do they go straight to hell? There's something wrong with that theology, that mindset. What I find problems with is that when you have this kind of spiritual dreams of waiting for something to appear, we do not know. We already see how the Christian world went crazy over Kanye West, and they went crazy over this guy in Africa who claimed that he was Jesus, and other antichrist figures that the church goes crazy over, only to find out that they were deceived. And in my humble opinion, something does not add up. Number one, his brothers and sisters are in heaven straight away. You think to yourself, they would be sleeping. In was it John, when in the Gospels, when Martha, I think it was her brother that died, and Jesus said he was sleeping. He didn't say he was in heaven playing on the harps. He was sleeping. Now we have to look at well, I'm not sure if it's Greek or I think it's Aramaic. When Jesus used the word sleeping, it doesn't matter what language on earth when we look at. When you look at the term sleeping, any language on earth, sleeping means sleeping. There's no language on earth, not one, where sleeping means conscious, where sleeping means you're actually going out and going shopping or you're going partying. You don't do that when you're sleeping. When you're sleeping, that's it. But somehow the Christian world has taken on the ideology that when you die, you don't sleep. Well, Jesus said that Lazarus was sleeping. I will go and wake him up. My contention is that there's a rather aggressive, subtle spiritualism, New Ageism that is concocting up a kind of wicked, counterfeit second coming. And because the Christian world are already gullible, they already fell for Kanye West, they fall for anybody. Now a lot of Zionist Christians are, one of them, was it Jim Bakker said that if you don't endorse Trump, then you're not born again. This is Jim Bakker. I'll do a video on that. If you don't endorse Trump, full-heartedly, you're not born again, you're not saved. The Christian world has gone doolally. There's something not quite right with us. However, so in my humble opinion, there's something not quite right. However, this child, the 3-year-old baby, who it is alleged had this dream. Okay, the whole world's calling it a rapture, but that's not the right term to use. Hundreds of people, hundreds, even thousands, have had dreams of the second coming of the rapture. I did. Okay? Because if you are raised in that kind of environment, you're going to dream what is instilled into you. You're going to dream it. It's only natural. But somehow the whole Christian world, they go off into some kind of delirium, and they start to say, oh, it's a sign. I made a video regarding the hologram antichrist, where you can now put a kind of projection onto the skies or I think they Microsoft it, not what do you call it, Photoshop it, but it's a projector and it's a hologram, and you could actually, if I want to make loads of videos in this area, because we're treading in dangerous times, and what can happen is that you can counterfeit the second coming of Christ. You can counterfeit it. And what I find problems is that the Christian world is so gullible. We're so wrapped up with this rapture idea, and yet many of us don't even understand the Gospels. We don't even understand or even faithful to biblical principles. You can see that in Christian groups on Facebook promoting homosexuality, promoting this, and yet in the same breath they're going on about the rapture. It's almost a mental disorder. You concoct a word, you become obsessed with it, and you don't even understand it. Anyway, this 3-year-old, seeing his brothers and sisters in heaven, that does not make sense. Every soul that sins, it shall die. And die does not mean conscious. Every soul that sinneth, it shall die. We are all born in sin, which is why we age. It's called the second laws of thermodynamics. Everything just disintegrates. But when Christ says, I am the resurrection, the truth, and the life, he was actually saying, look, I created the universe, and he who believes in me, even though you are dead. Even though you are dead, meaning when you're sleeping in the earth. In fact, the Bible says those who are sleeping in the earth, not in heaven. Sleeping in the earth shall rise. So something is not quite right about this 3-year-old. Either he's had cheese and he had nightmares, he had cheese, he ended up having dreams, etc. Or his mother coached him. I don't think there's a father in the background. His mother coached him, or he was deceived. But if you want, please, I'm a humble person. If you want to, please, show me any scriptures where it says that when you die, you go straight to heaven. That is a kind of spiritualist theology that is not grounded in the Hebrew psyche. It's not grounded in what Christ taught. Christ did not say that when you die, you go straight to heaven. He says, even though you are dead, yet shall you live. This is positive talking. This is someone who knows he has control over the future, over life and death. So even though you're asleep, when the last trumpet, those in Christ shall arise. If we all go to heaven straight away, then there's no need for the resurrection. There's no need for the last judgment. Even you see, there's another contradiction in the Quran, because the Quran, although it's stolen from the Bible, teaches, last judgment, etc. But why have it? Everybody's in heaven. It's a contradiction. And the church is so gullible that because you have a child dreaming, this phenomenon, it's now trending around the Christian world. Just like Kanye West, Jesus is King, trending around the Christian world. There's a serious spiritual apostasy. And unless we get our heads into the Bible and understand it, we are opening up ourselves to great deceptions. We are opening ourselves to spiritualism and spiritism. We are opening ourselves to a new age Christianity. If we're not careful, just because someone dreamt something doesn't mean that the source is genuine. Please, if you believe that the soul lives on, if you believe that, then please show me any verses in the Bible. A lot of texts that the Christian uses are usually out of context. And I said, you need to learn how to read the Bible properly. They're in a kind of environment where this spiritualism concept is encouraged, and therefore their minds start to interpret what they want to see. So we have this 3-year-old going around saying that, he dreamt his brothers and sisters were in heaven. Something does not add up. Jesus says, though you are dead, not alive, though you are dead, yet shall you live. We need to understand those language in order before we get ourselves into serious muddy waters. I hope you enjoy this video, and there's many more to come in this series. I want to deal a lot with all these strange UFOs, and you know, because we're opening ourselves to great deceptions, and because the Christian world is not, we're not foundationed, we're not holding on to biblical principles, but going with the wind, we're going to end up being